I think I'm in love, 'cause I can't get enough. So I think I just found the perfect war game. And a lot of you people know that I really like board games. And like the ones that I've been looking at the most recently are like the old school style of hexagon and chit war games. I bought Advanced Squad Leader recently, like last year, and I also like resource management games, like Euro games. I've been looking at this one called Tricarion, which is a worker placement resource management game that came out in 2015. That's got a high complexity rating. But I think I saw a game that might be like the holy grail of war games. And it's not the conquest of, the campaign for North Africa, which is a 60,000 minute game, which would take you months to play, even if you played like 12 hours a day. That's a game that's been on my radar, and you can find it usually from about $500 to $800. But it's another operational war game like that in a series that you can play independently. It's called Case Blue, and it came out in 2007. It's another one of these multi-man publishing games that do a lot of the war games that people like. It's huge. Like in terms of like the board space, it's multiple tables of eating up the tables. If you buy it from a retailer, it's going to cost you like $225. But you can find it on eBay sometimes from like $400 to $650. And it makes me think about like going back to school just so I get that financial aid so I could buy this fucking game. Just to own it, just to look at it and study it. I don't have to play it. The reason is because I want to design like a perfect game, you know? I want to design a game that combines elements of a war game like ASL or Case Blue or Case White or Antietam, Conquest for North Africa, something like that. Case Blue takes, it could take anywhere from a day of solid playing without sleep up to my dad just messaged me on Instagram. Okay, anyway, I'll get back to him. I didn't get any gifts from my parents this year. Anyway. The game that I really want is Case Blue. It could take you a day of solid playing up to 2 weeks of solid playing. So if you played two player for like 2 weeks, you'd be halfway done with it if you played 12 hours a day. And anybody that's played Risk knows that you could play for 6 hours to finish a game. Imagine playing 2 games of Risk a day for 2 weeks, and you'd finish Case Blue. It's 22,500 minutes at the most, or a day of solid playing, which would be without sleep. So it's not as in-depth, I guess you could say, as the campaign for North Africa. But the campaign for North Africa on Board Game Geek doesn't really have a high rating. It came out in '79. It's probably a grail game, but it's got like it's in like the 6s, which is like a C. Like the highest rated game on Board Game Geek is Gloomhaven at 8.9, and the engine itself for BGG can go up to 10, but that's the highest rated game. So you know how stringent they are in grading. But Case Blue has a rating of 8.1. Came out in 2007. and a complexity rating of like 4.6 or something like that. Go has a complexity rating of 4, and chess has a complexity rating of about 3.8. So it's more complex than Go, which a lot of these war games are. And I really just want this game because, for one thing, it's highly complex. From what I've heard, it's really not all that hard to learn how to play it, even though there's like a lot of rules and a lot of situations. But like picking it up and learning how to play it wouldn't be hard. It's highly rated. 8.1 is like an A game on Board Game Geek. And I'm really enticed because it's so expensive. Like the average amount of dollars you're going to plink down for this would be about $500. There's one for sale now in Canada, which would be about 600 and something odd dollars US. It's like 400 something Canadian. So if you want to look up Case Blue, go to Board Game Geek, buy that. If you want to tell me how it is, or you know about Case Blue, send me a message on Instagram. I'd really be interested. There's not a lot of videos for ASL, Advanced Squad Leader, the starter kits, or any of the kits. But this Case Blue seems to have a lot of videos from, at least 2 or 3, I think it's 2 people that I saw. They have a lot of videos on this. Like they're going through one of the turns, and the turns can take quite a while. A lot of videos on this Case Blue. Looks really fascinating. Doesn't look like it has a lot of luck. It does use dice, but it's got a complexity rating of like 4.6, which is great. Really gets the mind going. So I want this. I want this so bad, but I want to study this because, and I'll read the rule books and everything and learn about this thing. It's probably pretty heavy when it comes to weight. Just like putting it on a scale, other than the complexity weight. Complexity weight is something totally different than the metric weightage or the poundage of it. So I want this game just because it's really expensive, highly rated, and highly complex. I'm thinking about like going back to school in September and like buying this game if I find it, or putting some money away until I find it. I really want to combine a game like this with a game like Magic Realm, or a game like Roads and Boats. So if you know anything about Roads and Boats, you know it's like a resource management game where you're going around the different hexagons and like mining and foresting. Games like Agricola, games like The Colonists, or even games a little bit like Antiquity or Feast for Odin, where you're going around sort of like picking up resources. I want to combine a war game with a resource management game. So in that, it would be also an area control game and a worker placement game, because these war games are also area control games, and the resource management games are often worker placement games. So I want to combine the war game with the resource management game and create like the perfect game. So I'm looking at a lot of these games and thinking about buying some. I bought Antiquity for $100, so it's not too bad. But of course, like the war games can be a bit spendy. Like I said, the campaign for North Africa will, if you had like 10 people playing it, which is the max, it'd probably take you a year to play it, with a lot of hours put in every day. So if I had a Christmas wish list going for today, it would be, that's good. That looks like my dad just wishing me happy Christmas in return. So, like, yeah, I want to combine basically Case Blue with Roads and Boats, and it create some sort of game like that. Probably not on that massive scale where it would take a month to play. But then again, the more I think about it, maybe that might be kind of cool to design a game that even if you're playing 12 hours a day, resource managing and war game combination, there are games like that, like Terra Mystica is a little like that, but not really. I mean, I really want to like the war game element and the resource management element to stick out, but as noticeable. But I want those two parts to kind of be combined like chocolate and peanut butter. So it's just this delicious thing of Case Blue meets Roads and Boats. So I want to combine those two games, sort of, and create a perfect board game.